course, hip hop legend, Ultramagnetic MC, Dr. Octagon. He's Kool Keith. He has a new album. He has many albums, but a new album is called Computer Technology. And I want to welcome him to the library with Tim Einenkel. Thank you for being here, man.
Oh, yeah. It's a pleasure.
I mean, you've been doing this for a good amount of time. You've seen it all, but I want to talk to you about the development of some of the elements in the culture. How has the importance of the DJ, the graph, breaking, and MC kind of changed from when you first got involved to now?
You mean the breaking of a rapper? It's really not about DJing no more. It's really about the MC right now. I think the DJ is just there for the, to make sure the records don't skip and nothing. More back in a certain time, the DJ was more of a force because he had the scratching. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was like Jam Master Jay or something, it was more. The DJ was involved, but now you got Seratos and all these things and all this digital stuff. You got rappers doing a show from their phone now,
Yeah.
or so it's not as important as it was. People are so digital now. People go to shows, they go to they just plug their phone up.
Has that for you? How has that kind of affected your? Has it at all your writing style or your live show? Do you find yourself trying to do that route, or do you still try to stick to listen to the beat and?
I like listening to the beat. I mean, I always had a DJ at a show anyway. When I was working with Kurt and stuff, Mo. I always had a DJ that was good, but with me, it's like it's more live. So I do a lot of my shows just, with the DJ. But then that times changed. The vinyl got more lower. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not as loud as it was. So I used to use this. Everybody used to have a box that they put their songs in. It was like the instant replay. So
Right, yeah.
it had more of a master sound for your shows. So the vinyl was sounding kind of low though, but the instant replay would enhance and add like an amplified sound to what you did. All your music, it was like kind of mastered through that machine.
I'm going to be a little all over the place, but I want to talk about computer technology, and I think one thing I really noticed in computer technology is that you do a lot of. I feel you did a lot of like letting the beat, the instrument breathe.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have to, a 3-minute song, you didn't have to rhyme 0 to 3 minutes. You did a lot, 2 minutes, you're done and you let it go. One, was that purposeful? But two, what's the purpose of doing that for you?
Well, I have a format when I make records. I don't feel like I have to do a record maybe more than 3 minutes. I feel like I like a beat that breathes. I feel like I can get a song off with 2 verses and a nice chorus, 2 choruses. I just don't like a song maybe over 4 minutes. Basically, it takes me out kind of because it's like more like it's just enough. It's not too short, and it's just enough to be long. That's my format, basically. I like to just put two real potent verses on the record.
Your style. I mean, you have this style that I don't think definitely cannot be copied. It's unique. It's incredible to listen to watch. But where did that style, where did the Kool Keith that we know today come from? Like, what did you hear? What were you listening to maybe growing up or continuously listen to that kind of said, all right, this is the kind of MC I'm going to be or I want to be?
Well, I grew up in the Bronx, basically, rapping. I was more of a, I never tried to come out as a rapper. I was dancing first before I became a rapper. So what happened was I started looking at other groups and other MCs, but I never really came out and rapped people's face and stuff like that. I kept it to myself. I was studying different patterns in my own time. Me, I just was feeling like I would listen to all kinds of rappers, but I would just say, well, I'm gonna wait till my style come that I want to use, and then I would just study cadences, different, because like rap now is like it's all different types of cadences in the world. So it's like you got the fast rappers, you got like a Tech Nine, you got E40, you got you got all kinds of different kinds of rappers. So me, I just learned how to rap on different kinds of beats and stuff like that. So I just was figuring out, it's like I had everything, the fast rap, the slow rap, medium tempo, all kinds of beats. I like to challenge a beat. Most rappers really can't rap on everything. So I like to be like a flexible rapper. Like I can rap on any beat. I can rap on the fast stuff. I can rap on the slow beats per minute, medium. So that's how I became Keith, just becoming a voice to practice on all kinds of cadences of beats.
What beat has been or has been kind of the most challenging to Keith? Like one that you kind of like, I guess, put the most work in to be like, I'm gonna master this.
I think like when I work with Prodigy, like Diesel Power, those kind of records that are very fast. Papa Lodge was like kind of a record that was kind of complex, but to me the fast rap is more easier. It's the slow tempos that are harder. That I figured that out. But I kind of had more problems with like the Diesel Power and most of the like kind of records that when people want to do like a dance record or something.
Gotcha, yeah. You're obviously part of the legendary group Ultramagnetic MCs. You guys first dropped in 1984. What impact were you as a group trying to make? But then also, what impact did you want to make as just an artist?
I was a leader of the group. I mean, me and Sad went to high school together. I wanted to like come out with something different. Like I wanted to make like the big words not rhyme, like the super big words and stuff. But the cadences were different. So I wanted to show people that we can do stuff that was different as far as patterns. So we was always into patterns and making big words fit on small beats, like the timing of each beat. We wanted to make the big words fit on the beats, but a lot of different kind of beats. So we was more, I pushed a sci-fi issue to the group, like science fiction,
Right.
And that was different for us to give us like a signature, original signature. Like a sci-fi, kind of like sci-fi street.
At that, this brings us back to that time, 1983, 84. Did you have to worry, or did you care that maybe this sci-fi structure will not be accepted? Or, I mean, was it about?
It was funny. I didn't really care. I was, me and Sarah used to go to labels back then and shop records. I mean, that's when cassettes was out. I didn't really care because we used to hear the A&R beat, had influences of other rappers and be like, y'all should sound like this and y'all should do this. But we was like, nah, we're going to do this sci-fi. We going to do this. I mean, we heard everybody talking about making references to what we should be doing, but we was like, we're going to stick to the science fiction Bronx, science fiction / Bronx street.
Right.
And we just stuck with what we was doing. We was like, we heard every different kind of genre or subject matter out, but we was like, we're going to stick to this sci-fi street.
Did you, if you think about today's MC and the sound of today, which sounds very similar, all the stuff you hear, and commercially to then, why do you think It sounds like it sounds like you guys had the pressure to be like, all right, you should sound like this group if you want to make it, or if you want to sign. And rappers today are getting that same pressure. If you want to make it, you have to sound like this group. Why do you think more MCs sound? It feels like more MCs are caving into that pressure in 2019 versus when you dropped.
I think, like you said, it's the peer pressure of the kids are more not being, the kids are more not being original. They're more into, like, the style is to sound like somebody now. Like, that's more of an honor to say, oh, you sound like this person, or you sound like that person. That's in now. That's in now, as opposed to back then. It was like the original groups were more the standout groups because everybody had a style of their own. But now it's like, if you sound like somebody, that's more of a plus, because I think they feel better, like they more in the in crowd. They feel more accepted because they sound alike. But I listen to the music now. If you really study it, it's really different. It's like, say for instance, trap stuff is like, it's all kinds of trap though.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like, see, we came from a time that, like you can say that in a general standpoint of like the hip hop from our time. When you listen to it, it did sound the same because, like, when you had Steezo, you had EPMD, and people used the skull snap drums, James Brown. Right. It was a lot of stuff that sounded the same, but we didn't know that was just the people that was on top of the music sounded different. Right, but a lot of stuff sounded the same because it's like a million samples that was used over and over. But now, like, the music, it has the octave that we trying to listen to, but it seems like it sounds the same because they more in they more in a bounce cadence. Right. But they got all kinds of different kinds of beats, more now than before. But as a listener, you kind of shy away from it because, like you said, the guys that was rapping back in that time, they can't adjust to the new beats and stuff like that. So the new beats, they're more progressive and they're more challenging. They're way more challenging than beats from the past. So I think what happens is they get scared and they start saying, the critics would be like, oh, all those beats sound the same, but it's a lot of different ones, all over, different cadences of beats. But I think the cliche of it is what the record company promotes. Right. The most of them sound the same, appearing to the ear, but there's really a lot of different beats.
I remember talking to a guy who works with Master Ace a lot, Rich, and he said, like, yeah, the stuff that they're doing with, what we came up with, like, we never dreamed about any of this. Like, they're doing stuff with the technology that we didn't even think was possible, and now these new guys are kind of pushing it to a level that we just don't even.
Yeah, I mean, I
thought about.
Like, you can't get mad at the new people for what they doing because, the Amigos and what they do, and all of the Southern guys, and people from the South, but I like what they doing because they keeping it interesting. Mm. Sometimes you go in a lot of sessions, you got a lot of dudes, they still stuck in time. They still doing what they was doing before, and they want to live off of that, and they can't adjust, which was my thing to make me more popular. Was I was able to adjust to all kinds of things, like, but.
When did you know that's what you needed to do?
I mean, I start trends and stuff my own self. I'm not scared to take chances. I like to do stuff different. Me working on a variety of albums made me more to progress. I just feel like I can't live off what I've done before. It just hurts me inside to just take everything I'm working on from the past and just make that my future, because I have a different future of making music. I feel the future never ends, so you should make records and they might come out all kinds of ways. That's why I like you like a person like E40 or something. You know, it's like you might listen to him on Captain, you know, Save a Hole or something, Want to Be Saved, and then you look at his progression. And, you know, a lot of rappers got progression, but some don't. You know, they just stay in a certain box because their pressures of their status of what they done and, you know, created made them feel like this is all I could do.
Right.
This is what's left of me. I'm gonna live for this fortune of fame because this is what made me, and I have no other creativity whatsoever in myself. So I'm gonna take this point. I'm gonna take just this point in height of my career. That was it. So I'm gonna just make it like a limit. I'm gonna make myself a limit automatically. So that's what a lot of artists have done. You know, which I say the dinosaurs of that time. The dinosaurs were more mad at anybody making something brand new. Don't care if it's the South. Don't care if it's artists doing some electro music or whatever it is. They just mad at anything new, basically. So what happened was they made this imaginary limiting law. You know, it's no law to music at all. It's no law in what you could do, what you can't do, when you should drop a record, when you should put one out, when you should release, how many songs belong on an album, what style you should use all the time. It's no such laws at all. So what happened was they created these imaginary music laws to go by. Like, you know, it's a crime if you rap on a certain track. If you rap on samples, you know,
right.
you're not breaking any laws. If you rap on a keyboard song, you need to go to jail for 10 years. There's no such laws. It's just music is music, you know. That's why I never really had no animosity towards what all the regions is doing, because it's all the same music. When I was in LA, I bought everybody's CD. You know, nice. I bought the Bay Area stuff. I bought Los Angeles stuff. I bought Houston stuff. I bought Southern stuff. I bought up north, Chicago stuff. I bought Seattle, Canada. I bought all the stuff. Even Europe, Dizzy Rascal. I bought a lot of different things. I'm just saying that it's still, you can't just say, there's no such thing as real hip hop. It's all hip hop. All hip hop is one. Like, it's not, oh, this bologna or this ham is the best and this turkey is the 100%. Like, it's no such thing. It's all music. It's all everybody's on a microphone at the end of the day. It's no boundaries of that we should say, well, you know, this is the music, and this is the music. That's just a lot of the mad people that are complaining. This is the music, that is the music. It's no such thing, you know. It's all of it is one. It's one whole thing.
Are you when you talk about supporting and buying from all these regions? Obviously, you're not just doing it because you're supporting the culture. Are you also doing it because you're trying to keep yourself, quote unquote, fresh in terms of, like, see what other people are doing?
I'm gonna tell you an honest thing. It does make you advance because you know what's going on. It's like a pitcher. I mean, you can't win a baseball game if you play the California Angels and you play the Seattle Mariners and you play the Twins and you play, you know, Astros, all types. You have to know what pitchers, you know, if you're a batter, they study all that stuff. Yeah. That's how they win games. They be knowing who throws the slider at what time. They know who throws a fastball at what time. Every 7 pitches, he might throw a knuckleball. But I'm just saying, that's the logic of rap. It's still knowing what's going on. A lot of people just get stuck in one lane and they be like, well, I'm more of the original music maker in my own box, but it's so many other boxes, and it's interesting because it makes it more fun because it's all types of mixing bowls and collabs and different things you could try. When you get stuck in making your music in your own mind just for yourself, and then you start living on the rules of the music and what the quote unquote people say and the critics, and this is the only section for real music. Only go in this room for real music.
Right.
It's no such thing. All music it's all kinds of music. Europe got, music. It was like, it's funny now that I'm seeing, I had told somebody this before, I was like, people always said, okay, the States turned their back on raw hip hop, like, maybe like urban hip hop, like more boom bap and stuff like that. It's supposed to be more samples. And so they were saying that everybody go to Europe because they still love it over there.
Right, yeah,
they still love it, and they love it to death. But now you got like, you got Gucci Man going to Europe. You got Young Dolph go to Europe. You got a lot of artists going to Europe. Like when Ultramagnetic was hot, going to Europe at the time for them to go to Europe. Now Europe has took the whole trap thing. I mean, the shows are packed. People up there with their phones. So it's funny that a lot of artists were trying to escape and say, well, Europe is the base foundation for real hip hop. Europe went totally into what's going on now.
Right.
I had told people that a long time ago, but they didn't believe me. They was like, nah, I think Europe is going to stay the same and they're going to stay stuck, like Frankenstein. But they went into accepting all kinds of stuff. I mean, they had their own little different things, like, when they was doing the stuff in Ibiza and the dance music and all that stuff and, the house music and all that. But they surprised people when they grasped to, Future go to Europe now.
Right.
I mean, but to the average person that think he shouldn't be going to Europe, they just stuck in the mind.
Right.
But it goes to show a place that they thought was going to be loyal to one type of hip hop.
Right. One era, yeah.
Got fooled.
I think you did not just talk about the artist, but I feel like you have a great business mind in terms of the music industry, and I felt like on computer technology, the track "Money in the Bank," you kind of that's
for Al Capone,
you're touching on that, the points of having money in the bank. What was the biggest surprise about the business side of the industry, but also what do artists, even older artists or even today's artists, still don't get or surprised by?
It's your writers, basically. Your writers is the most important. Your writers and your publishing. A lot of people forget, they might let a lot of people write a song, but when your ASCAP checks come, your money is going to the person who wrote the song.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't ever get to enjoy, is seeing a check come with the writers. That's like 80% of the music industry is your writers. When somebody else writes a song, it's like you get a piece of it. It's production and writers.
Right.
The bulk. But if you don't care about that, you're doing shows more, you're just getting cash from the shows. But still, if you stop doing shows, the check's still going to be playing when those records still play forever and ever. It's going to the writers and the production, which people don't know.
Right.
Like a lot of the new kids, they don't know that. They just, they want to do the show, hold some money to their ear.
Right.
But the real guy that's holding imaginary bricks to their ear is the writer and production.
Right, that pop hit is going to last a lot longer.
Yeah. But you learn, they're going to learn from that process. That process is going to hit them later when they're like, oh, I'm not doing shows, but I don't get no checks. So that's another thing too, your writers. Writers for everything, writers in movies, soundtracks, writers for your compositions, writers. I had a song with, me and Razkaz did a song featuring Magnetic one time called Writers. Writers Ignited. It's all about writers.
That's you have so many albums to talk
just
about.
go ahead. Let's roll.
There's a line I really like on your album, Keith. Make 'Em Crazy, where you spit,
Money.
that's all they do, write psychotic lines, some married to rich families and lose their minds. What are you referencing there?
Some marry into a rich family and lose their mind. All they do is write psychotic lines. Some marry into a rich family and lose their mind. Well, you got a lot of rappers who never had nothing before, and they get into a lifestyle. So when you make records, you start meeting different kinds of people, and then you marry into a rich family and you lose your mind.
Right.
As you can see all the time, like you got a lot of artists that do that. So it's like that song was a reference to people who, people move to Hollywood and people meet somebody, the cliche of stars meeting stars. People end up dating somebody, and you have it, let's like you go meet Angelina Jolie, you rap, you change your whole life. You start bugging out. Your mind can't take it. You lose your mind because it's not the music anymore. It's the person that you married into a rich family. So your art is separated, and you have more energy focused on you being like just out of order or retarded. Your brain gets into the money, the rich family, and you lose your mind because you're not into music no more. You are basically a lab structure. Basically, you become like a lab test. You become a lab mice, and you adjust yourself into a family, but you don't know how to deal with it. Your mind, you basically. What was the line again? You marry into a rich family and lose your mind.
Yeah, that's all. That's all they do. Oh, that's all they do. Write psychotic lines to marry to a rich family and lose their mind.
Yeah, all you do is write psychotic lines and marry into a rich family and lose your mind. So
they continue. So ultimately, it sounds like that. So it ultimately hurts their art. They're trying to continue to do it, but they're just so out of touch with reality. You lose things. You lose anything. You lose going to the store to get you a shrimp roll, something that you used to do simply all the time. That you change your whole pattern of life. Like you're not in yourself anymore. So that's why I wrote that song. On the track for going to the new album, Computer Technology, on the track Computer Technology, it starts with computer technology is the lottery. What is the reference to? Why is it the lottery here?
We live in a computer world right now. Everything is computer. Everybody has a laptop. We can't be primitive anymore. Some of the guys from the certain times, they still have a flip phone. They haven't even advanced to a different kind of phone yet. They still primitive. So, it's just like with anything, adjusting. Computer technology is the time that we living in. It's the advanced time. It's what we're going through. Kids, babies work a computer now. They got iPads and they swiping, all their little cartoons across the board. So, we didn't have that, but you looking at the growth, computer technology is what's going on right now.
Yeah, it drives me. Like, I have two kids, and they think everything's on demand. Like,
yeah. Kids are looking at you, swiping their things, and they looking at you like, you ain't doing this yet. So that's definitely I see that too when I'm around. When I'm around my kids, I see like the advancement. You learn from them too. Also, the music they listen to and stuff like that. You can't be stubborn because you got people trying to convert their kids like they're in some kind of religion. You better listen to this kind of music. You better, I'm gonna kill you if you don't listen to this kind of music that I used to do or something. But you can't really do that. You have to understand. You have to understand their time and what they was doing. You got to look at it from a bigger perspective. They might not want to listen to that, but they want to listen to what they want to like. But you have to say, well, okay, this is what people used to do over there. But you still have to have a universal mindset to let everybody feel out what they like. Just like the new kids. You can't be like limited you can't be limited to tell them, you can't be limited.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right now, agreed. I just miss the times. I appreciate that as an adult with kids that there was a time that you could drive and actually lose radio reception, and now it's just since it's on your Bluetooth, you never lose radio reception. So
I mean, it's like satellite radio. You can drive across country and listen to the same station without a commercial. I mean, it's great. I mean, but that's what people don't know. It's like, I think what we got is hip hop. We got all kinds of music, but we got people that complain so much. They complain till they feel like you're mad because you're not making the adjustment. You're just upset. Like, you're like, I hate those people because I can't do that, But it comes with a lot of stuff too, in the showmanship and the time differentiation. You see, like you said, all them groups now. One thing I could say about all the groups now, the past groups of all the groups that are hot now, they are showing like great showmanship. When you pay your money to go see them, they got on costumes, they got on glasses, they got on latest stuff. They're doing stuff to make you feel like you bought a ticket, like if you went to see Earth, Wind & Fire.
Right, it's a show.
But I'm ashamed of my peers because the people in the past, like they come to the show, you want to bring your girlfriend, they up there with mustard on their shirts, ketchup, on a dirty fitted,
right,
walking back and forth, saying this is real. But after you buy your ticket, you start to say, like, did I really buy my ticket to see this? Like, this guy ain't even like take this shirt and this fitted to the laundromat. Right. And then, we got this thing where they feel like real hip hop is to look like a janitor. You gotta look like you mop floors. You gotta wear big boots and stuff like that. I mean, I like showmanship. Like, I like people that come on stage look like they came from a dressing room. I just don't like people look like they just mopped the floors and they just stepped on stage. It's not about that. It's about entertainment.
So who do you draw, or who when you do a show, who are you drawing your live show inspiration from? Like what artists before you? Not necessarily hip hop artists. I mean, anyone.
What artists that I look up to?
Yeah, like say, hey, if I could do a show like this guy or this,
Well, I like the Dr. Funkenstein. Like, really back in the Parliament time. I mean, there was always like, everybody, but still everybody was entertainment. Like, Confunction was, Cameo was entertainment. Even Larry Blackman used to have the cup around his genitals and stuff around. I mean, like, it's just like, it's entertainment. Like, it's Captain Scott. Like, everybody's entertainment. Like, I just feel like a lot of these guys want a lot of appreciation and honor, but but what do you give out? What do you give out? Like, what do you give to the people? Like, I supposed to come look at you with a dirty fitted on, wrinkled up, a do-rag under it. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like it's more to music. Music still was with fashion. That's why I looked at, like, Furious 5 was always dressed. Like, when I used to see Scorpio on them, they used to always have clothes on. Even if it was, Flash have the German, it was some kind of showmanship. I mean, it's appointed to be herbal, raw, and stuff like that. And you take the essence and you be street. Like, when rap first started with Mean Gene and Theodore, the L Brothers they wore the big, the Stetson rims, the velour brims with Run DMC came out later with that, which was cool, the Adidas stuff. But I'm like, that's cool. That still has some kind of organizing to it. It's still organized. It's like, but it's like when you just come up there looking like the plumber and you want to spit and then you want to say, well, this is real because I look like the plumber. But that's not what I'm like trying to see you like. Because, we came too far to be like that look. Like,
Right.
Like, people broke doors down. I did, like Black Elvis, and
Right.
it's just not about. I just see a lot of, and that makes you miserable. When you look bad, you feel miserable.
Right.
I used to always say, black make you feel depressed. Like, I thought about it when I was going to school. I was to be wearing like black, a lot of black, and I felt like a walking funeral, because it was just the inspiration of feeling down, because it's hardcore colors that make you. That's why the South is pretty nice, because they have coordination and they have colors. It's good to go. That's like when you go to baseball game. Don't you like the field? It's pretty light green. It's like the baseball teams got on like dope. The California Angels look glowing red, and you see the Dodgers with blue, and the field, the dirt is pretty red. They running, stealing bases. But when you go see like Darth Vader all night, and they walking back and forth, it's like, it just doesn't move me. You know what I'm saying? Showmanship. I don't care even where you at, just places where you are, pictures, images, you don't get that no more. You don't get good images. Like, you don't get a Nona Hendrix. You don't get Grace Jones. You don't get, people that should be mentioned. You don't get, the new kids are stars. Even if they independent, they make themselves stars.
Right.
Is rap been gone from the T-shirt. It's just like anything. I mean, you could wear all kinds of things, but like you said, it's more to it than that's more entertainment going on. It's like when I look at everybody was entertainment. Heat Wave, Brass Construction, anything. I don't care if you Donnell Jones, it's still entertainment.
Right.
Everybody's buying clothes, fashion. You can't get mad at the new kids because they got the Chanel sneakers on, and it's times have changed. You can't shop at Models no more. You can't get nothing out of Models. You can't go to Sears and Robux and try to find something to stand on stage. It's time. It's time for change.
Is there a favorite live show you've seen in your life that you kind of like?
I remember I saw a Kraftwerk in Europe. That was the craziest show. They had they had computers set up, and their face was painted like mannequins, and they was in the dark. Like, that was like I'm like, wow, this is what I'm saying. This is worth the money. This is worth the money. This is really worth the money. But I can't watch a whole lineup of janitors perform one night. I can't do it. It just drains me down like a battery. It drains me. Yeah,
I saw Radiohead at MSG, and was texting and calling my brothers, and they thought I was drunk and high out of my mind, but I wasn't. I didn't touch anything that night, and it was just such a good show. I mean, it was a live show.
Who was that?
Radiohead.
Oh yeah, Radiohead. Yeah, all of them. Yeah, them groups, Radiohead, and all of them, U2, and the ones that made, the guys who made Whip It Good.
Oh yeah. But then a totally different type of show, I saw B.B. King live, and what was incredible to me was that it was just him, and the crowd for me, it was like the crowd control.
The guitar player, right?
Yeah. The crowd control and the voice control that he had.
Yeah, and, but he would be up there with a sky blue suit on, playing a dope brown Gibson guitar. So it's like it's like it's very, it's like euphoric, wow. But like you said, a lot of people don't give you that effect.
I have a couple more questions. So when I was growing up, obviously Tim Dogg dropped, and because my name was Tim, everyone in my high school in Harlem or junior high kept on calling me Tim Dogg as my nickname. Obviously, not even close to the genius of Tim Dogg. You worked with him. What was kind of why was he so?
I was with Tim yesterday.
So why was he so incredible? I was like,
Tim used to stay with Sad. He used to work for Metro North. He had a good job and everything. He quit rap he had a good job. He worked for, he was an electrician for the train tracks. Tim used to be around Sad's house. Tim liked it. He liked the Kane a lot. You know, he loved Big Daddy Kane, and you know, so. But he was good rapping in his own way too. But so I had told Sad was like wanting to do a song with Tim. I think Tim got on chorus line, and then what happened was Tim did a single. Then people started liking Tim for some reason. You know, whatever his mannerism was, a very aggressive kind of whatever. Say anything you want. Then Tim ended up getting a deal. I think Kurt Woodley signed him to Rough House, Columbia. So, you know, Tim was a spinoff from Ultra, kind of, you know, in his own way. You know, because Sad had some other groups too, MF 911. He was producing a couple of dudes out in Philadelphia, and, you know, we worked with Tough Crew and stuff like that. So Sad was a big producer back then, you know, when, you know, all that Bridge is Over, and Sad did all that stuff, and most of Boogie Down production, KRS, all that stuff, and maybe like not a few, maybe Scott did some tracks, but me, Scott, and Sad would hang together, me, Scott, LaRock, and Sad. So KRS was with another group called Celebrity 3. You know, it was like Jerry Levi and them guys. It was like they had a whole different group, but people would never know KRS was like with a three group, like his own little treacherous three or something. But we was a unit, but everybody could have easily been together. It could have been Tim and KRS. It could have been Keith and Ultra and Tim, and Keith and KRS. It could have been anyway, but the group could have been Keith and Celebrity 3, you know what I'm saying? But that was the group he was with. We was Mastermind Productions. Everybody was one under one production, you know, like that's like our own sound, you know, Mastermind Productions. So it was Pat. Thanks to Pat, you know, Pat had a singing group like Jodeci, but he sacrificed his career. God rest in peace, Pat. Sad's older brother passed a long time ago from cancer, but he was like young too, but it was just he sacrificed his career for everybody. So much love to him. So we got together, and then Tim came out with a solo album with Sony, Columbia, put out you know, Joe the Butcher and Chris Schwartz put out his album, Tim Dogg, Penicillin on Wax, which, you know, so Sad did the production. I played a couple bass lines on that album, and, you know, Secret Fantasies, a lot of tracks on Pen. I listened to it the other day. It was sounding dope. So, but the idea of Tim's concept was going to this for Compton, you know, but at that time it was just more like I guess he wanted to jump on the train to get NWA. I think NWA bothered him, but not in a sense of fighting him. More in I think Tim did a marketing move. Basically, I wasn't basically with it. Basically, I was like, "You doing that?" And he's like, "No, I'm doing this." Like that was his own way. That was his. A lot of people thought he was pushed to make them decisions. Tim had a lot of input in his own album.
Oh, nice.
With Columbia. So Tim did the Penicillin on Wax album, which he did. His first single he did was, you know, the F Compton. But I guess it was more to ride the wave of the NWA thing, and it was just more in the marketing. I guess Sony wanted to jump on that as a tool to create, like, okay, this is good. This is like a little frenzy battle, but, you know, which was kind of cool. You know, a lot of people took it personal, but they had all kinds of things. I mean, it was just music. It was just music on. But the album came out. His album came out dope. You know, his album was the #1 like classic. I mean, I think it just showed that he had more balls than a lot of people. You know, he wanted to just say, you know, he didn't like gangs. He didn't think it was right for gangs to be out and stuff like that. He thought people should be like a one-man person, you know, like, which is, you know, it was kind of the album was kind of really a cause to organization, you know, being organized and saying, you know, stop that, stop grouping up and just all y'all get together. So he was like, his whole consciousness of was to fight against that and like for what any kind of negative thing was going on. So he made that record to say, well, I'm gonna make some other kind of conflict album to go make people go in a frenzy. But it was fun. It was good for him to I guess he did what he wanted to do, you know, with the label promoting that, and it was a big success for him. That was real big success for him, his album that he put out, Sony put out, Columbia.
It's incredible.
And because he had his own direction. That was his whole set was telling him, like, you want to do that? But he was like, you know, most of the only thing we did was the beats.
Right.
But what he put on top of the beats was his own mind, you know.
Did you have a sense from him, kind of a long-term goal or long-term plan?
Me and Tim was just more, besides his music, we would just hang out in strip clubs. You know, he was in Atlanta. One time, it was funny though, when he made all that stuff with the West Coast stuff, and he was actually living in California. Yeah. You know, less walking around LA, just seeing people. But I think he made the record on more of a sportsmanship, not to go into violence and stuff like that. It was more a project that I guess it was supposed to be just wax, you know.
Yeah. Kool Keith, it's been incredible to talk to you today. Thank you so much. Of course.
You know, I love to share my experiences and all that, you know, information that you need that's proper, and the Keith album and the computer technology album, and also all my albums that I have, and, you know, my Instagrams and Kool Keith, original Kool Keith, and Ultraman 7000 Twitter. And you could also check a museum I made on Instagram, the Kool Keith Museum.
Dope.
And me, I just still make new records and stay current as possible in the studio and stay with showmanship, you know, because a lot of stuff is missing.
Right.
And there's no rules in music at all. It's not one rule at all. You can do what you want. Any kid coming up, you could do what you want. You don't have to be like somebody. You don't have to feel like you got to follow somebody because that's what they supposed to force down your throat. You can be yourself, but as long as you're doing what you do in a positive way, or, you know, whatever it is, as long as, you know, you ain't got to take drugs to make your image, you know. That's why I like Drake or something, you know. You got a clean-cut guy that tears everybody a new ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you don't got to put, you know, Frankenstein screws in his neck and paint one of his eyes green. You know, he don't got to wear fitted. You know, he don't got to wear Timberland boots. You know what I'm saying? It's all kinds of things. This music is a highway that got different ramps going different kinds of ways. You know what I'm saying? That's what's the most important thing. That's what makes music fun. Because if we had one person that everybody's supposed to look at, one person, the music industry would be boring.
And not creative.
Yeah, that's why it's a word called variety.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, that's why M&M's put brown ones in the pack. They put the red ones in there. They put yellow ones in there. You know, so they can spread the jelly beans all out on the table. It's all kinds of stuff. You know, it's no one person. It's no best. It's no, you know what I'm saying? It's all genres of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's all over. It's, like I said, it's the Bay Area, the South, the North, the East, Europe, China, Tokyo. It's all over.
So he's Kool Keith, legend, continuously making music. Computer Technology is his newest album. Keith before that.
Keith.
Many, many more. Kool Keith, thank you for being on the library with Tim Einenkel. Thank you. Man.
Yeah, and I got a new album might come out after all of that too. You never know. I think I'm a work machine.
Yeah,
I'm a beast because a lot of these old people, they can't do it. They just don't have it in their bodies. They just don't have it. They don't have it. And I would tell them in their face, you don't have it. Because you're not your energy is not there. You don't have it because it takes energy. It takes energy to make these records. It takes to get up and go. It takes knowledge of knowing what's going on around you. You know, you can't be stuck with an afro with headphones on, laying down in the bed, you know, with a 1974 radio from Times Square.
True.
That's what a lot of people are doing.
Sure. Kool Keith, thanks so much, man, for being on the library. Thank you.